Hello everyone, I welcome you all to class 10 social science. Hope you are doing pretty well. So today I'm here with another topic, that is how is federalism practiced in India. But I just want to recap the previous section. Hope you remember that in the previous section of this chapter we learned about a little bit history of Indian federalism, and also we saw how power has been distributed among different levels of the government through 3 different lists. Also, we learned special status given to some states due to their distinct culture and geography, and role played by the judiciary. Now, in this part of this chapter, we are going to learn many ways to practice federalism in India. First, here I would like to mention constitutional provisions. You can see in the first line it is written, constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism. The real success of federalism in India can be attributed to the nature of democratic politics in our country. What does this mean? Democratic politics, that means basically how political parties and a form of democratic government practice this. The real success of federalism in India can be attributed to the nature of democratic politics in our country. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity and desire for living together became shared ideals in our country. There's a diverse country, not only religion wise but also ethnically and linguistically. So here in this section we will learn about linguistic state. Let's see what are the provisions mentioned under linguistic state of India. States formed on the basis of their language. Why? Because it will help the people living in that state to manage themselves or manage the affairs of the state through their own language. Otherwise it would be difficult for other states to govern them. So the demand for separate state was made for the first time in 1953 by the state of Andhra Pradesh. People in Andhra Pradesh used to speak in Telugu language. Indian government was forced to make a committee on the basis of on the language. So what does this mean? That State Reorganization Committee was formed in 1956 and it gave permission to the state to form a new state on the basis of their own language. Also, states can form their boundary and rename themselves. Not only these, but also many states were formed out of merger of 2 or 3 provinces. For example, here you can see Kerala. Kerala was the state for the first time. It was formed out of merger of Cochin and Travancore, and these 2 were part of Madras. Also in 2000, 3 states were formed out of 3 existing states. So they are mainly Jharkhand was formed out of Bihar, then Chhattisgarh was formed out of Madhya Pradesh, and Uttarakhand that was formed out of Uttar Pradesh. Here again you can see one interesting thing, that Uttarakhand, the name was changed. Earlier it was named as Uttaranchal. Likewise, currently we saw that Kerala's name has been changed and renamed as Keralam. So why we are talking about all this? Because each and every state has given their rights to change their boundary, change the name of the state or rename the state. Also they can curb many other states out of the existing state. Clear? So that is how federalism in India is practiced. Linguistic states was first and a major test for democratic politics in a country. Created not on the basis of the language but also reorganized differences based on culture, you can see ethnicity or geography. So what does this mean? Basically, different states have their different culture and ethnically they are different, and their geography is also diverse. So these states include, you can see, Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. Just now I gave you an example, like 3 states were formed. Here Nagaland was formed out of because of their distinct geography and culture. Earlier there were 14 states and 6 union territories, but now we have 28 states and 8 union territories. Some national leaders feared that it would lead to the disintegration of our country. Why they feared? Because we saw bloody partition of India, and formation of linguistic state has actually made the country more united. Well, because when each and every state will have autonomy means freedom to manage themselves, then they will live happily. And when all the states have given power to manage themselves, there is no point of having conflict like Sri Lanka. In the case of Sri Lanka, we saw there was conflict between minority and majority government, Sinhala basically, and Tamil. But in our country, it was not practiced. We gave equal status to each and every state. Next way of practicing federalism in India is language policy. Language policy meaning India has many languages. but we do not have any national language. Why? Because we do not practice majoritarianism here in India. So in case of majoritarian government, what happens? The people who speak in majority in the language, they govern the country. But here in case of India, we are a true democratic country, so we have to take care of each and every linguistic groups. Our constitution did not give status of national language to any language. So Hindi was identified as the official language. Even though 40% people in India speak in Hindi, but it was not recognized as the state language, but official language. Therefore, there were many safeguards to protect other languages. Besides Hindi, there are 22 languages recognized as scheduled language. You can see, and state to have their own official language. Much of the government work takes place in official language of the concerned state. That means each and every state has their own official language. Through that, their functions are done. Like central government also has official language, that is Hindi. Clear? Now let's move to the next part of this. According to the constitution, the use of English for purposes was to stop in 1965. But after that, what happened? Some of the South Indian states started demanding for English. Tamil Nadu, you can see this government took a violent form. The central government responded by agreeing to continue the use of English along with Hindi. The flexibility shown by Indian political leader helped our country avoid the kind of situation that Sri Lanka finds itself in. So that means we did not have any kind of provisions like Sri Lanka. Okay, now let's move to the next part. Yes, this is one of the most important part of our federalism. So here, in case of center-state relation, you will see the center being very dominating, or center has given more power than state government, and that's why Indian federalism is called centralized federal government. Now let's understand what it is saying. How the constitutional arrangements for sharing power work in reality depends to a large extent on how the ruling parties and leaders follow these arrangements. This is very important. If ruling party imposes something which is against the will of the state, do you think India will be able to practice federalism? After independence, there was only one dominant party, that was Congress, and that the era of Congress is known as Congress domination. State governments did not exercise their rights as autonomous federal units. Why? Because central government was so powerful that it used to control the other units, and that's why in the beginning, or I must say after independence, there was centralized tendency of federalism of India. The parties that ruled in the center tried to undermine the power of the states, what I just explained. In those days, the central government would often misuse the constitution to dismiss the state governments that were controlled by rival parties. Rival parties meaning, here you can see the opposition party. This undermined the spirit of federalism. So federalism meaning what? It is basically both central and state government will function autonomously, or I must say independently, and there will not be any interference by each other. But when Congress was ruling in our country, what happened? Some of the states which did not have Congress ruling party was dominated by the central party. So central party was Congress. Okay. All this changed significantly after 1990s. Why? Because in this period we saw there was coalition government. Coalition government meaning when two or more parties come together and form alliance and win the election, and then finally they form the government. So this period saw rise of regional parties in many states of the country, and this was also the beginning of era of coalition government at the center. So when at the center different political party came together and formed government, that showed that there is end of centralized tendency of the central government. Since no single party got clear majority in the Lok Sabha, the major national parties had to enter into an alliance with many parties, including several regional parties, to form the government at the center. So this is the whole story of coalition government, and that is how federalism is practiced in India. अगर आपको ये सेशन पसंद आया तो आप लाइक कर सकते हो, सब्सक्राइब करो और शेयर करो, और अगर आपको कोई कंटेंट चाहते हो कि मैं एक्सप्लेन करूँ तो आप मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बताओ. I will make more such videos for you. Thank you. God bless you all.